Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including the star, which we'll be getting into today. I'm Beatriz Mourad, and today I'm joined by Sam Quattro.
Hello.
And Michelle Anderer.
Hi.
Warning, yes, we will be getting into spoilers. However, we're going to start off with a brief non-spoiler discussion for those of you who haven't seen the star just yet. Don't worry, I'll let you know when the deep dive into spoilers begin. Despite the fact that this is a retelling of the nativity story, so I don't know how much there is to spoil. Spoiler, Mary gives birth to Jesus. I don't know how else to, tackle this kind of spoilery stuff. But yeah, find out more about this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can subscribe to us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes, where we appreciate your star ratings, or search for Overly Animated on your favorite podcatcher. All right, so guys, according to IMDb, the star is about how a small but brave donkey and his animal friends become the unsung heroes of the first Christmas. The star also has a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes. Ferdinand has a 72%, and this upsets me. This upsets me.
Yeah, I like this one more than Ferdinand.
Okay, look, I don't know if it's because the star's rating is too low or because Ferdinand's is too high, but something went wrong with the critics on this one. So, Sam, I don't know if you've seen Ferdinand, so I don't know if you can, I don't know what your take is on this, but Michelle, are you surprised by how big this gap is?
Yeah, what's so great about Ferdinand? I was so much more bored during Ferdinand than I was during this movie. And I don't know, even things just the human characters in this movie, I feel shown a lot more than the ones in Ferdinand, even though they're both movies objectively from animal perspectives. And I enjoyed the animation more, and I don't know, it's really weird. I wouldn't say I would rate this one much higher than it is, but I think Ferdinand is definitely too high right now.
Yeah. I keep seeing that score. And I know we shouldn't for something so subjective, we shouldn't add a number to it. But at the same time, it's how? How? But let's get into this. So without spoiling, did you guys like the star? Michelle, why don't you start off, since you kind of already gave us a hint of what you thought?
Well, I thought I was really afraid this movie was going to be so bad, but it wasn't that bad. I kind of liked the the donkey wasn't, he didn't have a heart of gold. He didn't really trust anyone and kind of wanted to do his own thing. And then gradually was oh, I guess I should help these people out because they're actually pretty chill. And I don't know, there were a lot of animals, but I genuinely enjoyed a handful of them, which I also wasn't expecting. And I went into this movie cold, so I didn't know freaking Oprah Winfrey and Kristen Chenoweth, all these other people were in this movie's animals. And I was what? But I mean, yeah, I liked this movie more than Ferdinand. I didn't hate Ferdinand, so I'd give it a 52%.
All right, yeah. All right. Cool. Sam, what about you? Did you like this movie?
No, I wasn't really a fan. I don't know. Yes. To me, it felt like, a bigger budget of the things that they would show you in maybe, I don't know, Catholic school or Sunday school or something, just a nice little, Christian story for the kiddies, right? Because, animals, that's how kids relate to the world, I guess. I don't know. It just felt kind of bland to me. Where's the dirt about Jesus?
Yeah, where's all the babies getting murdered? They just had one guy to find one baby. That was it. No one dies except him.
It would have been more interesting if they made Joseph and Mary animals. They just made it a whole anthropomorphic animal sort of thing. That would have been very interesting, but of course, it's kind of not good. But anyway, yeah, it was kind of it was a way to spend 90 minutes, certainly.
I guess coming out of Ferdinand, because I don't want to compare, but it's just, there is a clear difference in these two in terms of just, one is straight up boring. And then another one actually has some sort of spark of interest, some sort of something interesting. So it's like, okay, well, this is like, maybe it's just because of the humor or like the modern tone of it, the modern way people talked to each other, that I was like, okay, like I know this story. I've known this story since this is probably one of the first stories I've ever known. So there's not really much that they could add to it. They could have done something a little bit more interesting. Like, yeah, they could have it's a pretty bland way of telling this. I mean, not a way of telling the story, but it's definitely just like, they didn't take any risks with it. It's just, you know, we made it a little bit more kid friendly, but there are definitely a lot of sources that have already made this story very kid friendly. So, and they actually do things that do deviate away from the original story, but those things are so the movie's more bland. They make it so it's even less risky than the very story it's telling, which is weird. So, agree with you, Sam, but also it was more entertaining than Ferdinand, and there is something to that entertainment. There is a value to it. Not to say that it's faultless or anything. There's a lot of faults to this, but it's not okay. Like, if I don't know, if you practice the Christian faith in whatever way or shape or form, and you find your kids or your young cousins, siblings, whatever that may be, like watching this movie for whatever the sake it is, you could sit down and watch it with them, and it wouldn't be terrible. Like, it could be a fun thing to watch with kids and be like, oh yeah, this is fine. This is okay. But yeah, what did you guys think of that voice acting, of like the voice cast? Because this cast is pretty nice. Like, this is a really great cast for the little it is that they were used for. It was pretty nice. What did you guys think of them? Michelle, what did you think?
I honestly kind of was fine with the camels, and the sheep I liked, and the mouse was fine. But like, I'm a little curious, Sam, because you said you liked, well, you didn't exactly say, but like I have a feeling that you have thoughts about the camels, and I'm just wondering what they are.
The camels.
Deep sigh from Sam.
I don't know. I feel like the camels were a little bit useless to the main story. They were just kind of there. And they kind of felt like in the grand tradition of the hyenas from Lion King, where you have like you have like people of color, predominantly in this movie, like black actors playing these camels, and it's like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, that kind of like signals red alert. What's happening? Why are we having this?
I agree with you. I will say that there are a lot of people of color in this. Like,
that's
I think
true,
the only really like big character that is white is really Joseph Zachary Levi. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think so. I mean, it's everybody, but I do agree with you. Like, them in particular they were pretty. Oh, well, and Kelly Clarkson. We'll get into Kelly later. We'll get into her.
Why was she there?
We'll get into it. We'll get into
so small.
But yeah, like, I do see that. That did make me feel like, like, what are they? If everybody else had been white, then maybe I would have felt it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But given how, like, a lot, like, you know, Bo is played by Stephen Yeun. I don't know.
Yeun. I actually just looked up a video how to pronounce his last name.
Stephen Yeun.
Good job, Sam.
This is embarrassing. I lived in Korea for like a good chunk, and like I don't know how to say it, which is really embarrassing. So, but yeah, this cast, like, I'm impressed with how many people they got. I just Oprah. I was like, how did you get Oprah? That's crazy.
Get her to be Deborah the Camel.
So part of me thinks, like, is that why the camels play such a small role? I mean, this isn't spoilery because they're not the protagonists. This is very much they play very much a supporting role. So I was just like, maybe it's because she only literally had to be there for like 10 minutes to say all her lines. Maybe. Like just 10 minutes in a booth.
She just spent a morning.
Basically, she was just like, oh, this is a quick hour. Basically, she's like, this is a quick way to make some money that I clearly don't need because I have enough of it. But like, sure, why not? So yeah, voice cast, I was surprised by the quality, disappointed by the lack of use of it. But Stephen Yeun, like, he keeps showing, like, I'm sure for people who watch Voltron, like, I've only really watched like the first season and kind of dropped it in the second season. So I don't know how much more they've been using for his character, but he's a great voice actor.
Oh, I didn't even know he was in Voltron. I might have to watch that now.
I have not watched Voltron, so I'm like super out of the loop.
Okay, well then we're not the people to talk about for Voltron, but
we can speculate wildly.
We can speculate why he's in Voltron. He's a great voice actor. So we can be like, okay, then we know why he was cast in it. But Michelle, I think it was Sam. Sam, you mentioned something about the animation. What did you think of it overall? Was it fine? Was it?
I think that was Michelle.
Okay, Michelle.
Well, any of it. Sam, if you want to talk about it.
I didn't have really any opinions on it. It was just
I think just because we had talked about how Ferdinand was the most bland palette ever, and there just wasn't anything unique or interesting about the designs. This one just stuck out. I remember when we were walking during the sunrise. It's oh, this is pretty. Or oh wow, this is really a desert and this is a town. It didn't blow my mind, but it did feel like a somewhat improvement from Ferdinand, just coming back to back from those that movie.
Yeah, I will say that the humans were a lot more human.
Mm-hmm. They actually had something.
I can safely say the humans looked like humans.
Yeah,
just throwing that out there. Good job for giving us the bare minimum. Humans look like humans in this.
I don't know why Mary had blue eyes, though. That was really throwing me off.
Yeah, I was thinking about that,
Is Jesus gonna have blue eyes? I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the skin color. I appreciate that they didn't whitewash. But, I don't know. Maybe it's, I have this theory, because this also happened with the movie The Breadwinner, which is this movie that takes place in Afghanistan, and it stars as, the protagonist is this Afghan young girl. And, she also has light eyes. So I don't know how much this has to do with, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was this picture, this photograph that was cover of Time magazine, and it was this girl, and she so she has these bright green eyes. So I'm maybe they're trying to do that, and that's their inspiration. I don't know, but that is worth talking about. That's not, I don't know. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Eye colors are weird. As someone whose brother is in medical school and had to, learn this stuff and DNA and stuff, I tried to ask him, what's up with eyes? And he's just don't. Just don't. Don't do it. Don't do this to me. Okay, so that's really as much as we can talk about in terms of non-spoilers. So now we're going to get into spoilers. So anyone who hasn't seen The Star and doesn't want to be spoiled, I don't know how much there is that isn't, I don't know. It's the nativity story. What else is there to say? But yeah, so goodbye. We're going to talk spoilers. Bye. All right. So like all nativity tales, the story begins with Mary being visited by this angel and being told that she's preggers with Jesus. And we see her accept this news in an unbelievably chill way. She's just all right, that's fine. There's a baby in me now, sure. And immediately we find out what perspective we're gonna go through the story, because we basically are told it through the perspective of this mouse thing, and she runs away and tells the other animals this, and we basically go, and then we jump to Bo. And it's this donkey who all he does all day is go around in circles doing something. I don't know what it was that he was doing. Was he purifying water? Was he doing grains? I don't know what it was.
But some sort of physical labor.
We never find out.
It's not important. It's not. All it is that he just basically is always stuck inside all day going around in circles. And all he wants to do is go outside and be free and be part of this royal caravan thing. I don't know what it does, what's the purpose of it, but he wants to be part of it.
Walk around and look cool.
Yeah,
in many different villages.
Basically, he wants to be a star. All right, he wants to be in the spotlight. He's a little diva. That's our bro. That's the way that he is. And his best friend is Dave. and Dave is this like little pigeon thing. So, so he basically like escapes thanks to his father, I think, and we go through this crazy chase sequence. So, what did you guys think of kind of this opening? A lot of things happen. There's a lot of things that were set up. We were introduced to Bo. Wow. We were introduced to Bo, to Dave, and also Mary, and all that's happening in the sidelines. Like, what did you think of how they kind of set everything up and introduced everybody? Michelle?
Honestly, my first reaction was like, wow, that angel was freaking creepy. Like, its voice was like super intense, and yeah, Mary took it way more chill than I thought. And like, I don't know, throughout the movie, like, they show Joseph having a couple meltdowns, and Mary kind of only has one. It's like towards the end, I'm just like, wow, okay, this lady's very chill for having like such a bomb drops on her. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that.
Yeah, she was just like, oh, I guess I'm going to be the mother of the Lord.
Yeah, now. Like, okay, I don't have to worry about. I mean, I will appreciate later that Joseph doesn't like. Yeah, he doesn't like. He just accepts it. He's like, oh, like he's not mad because he doesn't believe her that's why she's like 6 months pregnant. He's just like, oh, okay, I don't know how to be a dad to a king, but like we'll figure that out, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand. Like, they got this wrong, though. Like, in the text, like, she freaked out. She was like, but I, like, what do you mean I'm gonna be pregnant? I don't have a man. Like, what are you talking about? Like, she does have a freak out. And it's just like, in this, we just don't see, I don't know. I have a really big problem with Mary's characterization, because she just seems like completely simplified, and just any complexities that she has is like taken away. Like, they're just like, we're just gonna remove these issues because, I mean, Joseph can have them. Joseph is fine to have these kind of complexities, but Mary, no, you're pregnant. We can't have you have this too. Like, you're already carrying Jesus. Like, we can't have you have also complexities too, which doesn't make sense. Like, something that really bugged me about it. But
yeah, she was just way too chill.
Yeah. I mean, as much as Joseph kept freaking out, I'm like, yeah, but like, Mary has all the same issues you do, plus she's literally giving birth to this, and like it's really scary. And I don't know, I was getting anxious just like seeing Mary be so pregnant, and I knew they were gonna find a place to go, but just like, her water broke, someone just let her use your table. Oh, this is awful.
They're closed because of Christmas, Michelle.
But she just needs one table.
And I mean, no one talks about, like, how like, the stoning, the actual, like, reality. I mean, I get it. It's like, but they could have somewhat, like, very lightly suggested the true dangers of her going through this. Joseph was just kind of like, oh, I'm like, how am I gonna raise this king, this thing, like, this being? Yeah. How am I gonna, like, fair, that's a valid thing, nothing against that. But Mary's like, oh God, if Joseph doesn't accept me, I'm gonna be stoned to death. Like, you know, like, they're just like, they're not even tackling this really interesting thing that actually is part of the story. They're just kind of like, nah, we're just not gonna deal with that, because animals, and it's just, no, like, if, I don't know, like, personally, if someone didn't, like, kidify it for me when I was younger, I would have been totally into this story way more. I would have been like, what? I don't know, but what do you guys think of, like, Bo and Dave, and, like, our introduction to them?
It was fine.
Like, what do you think of Bo? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, do you like Bo as a protagonist? Like, is he fine, or is he just kind of like bland? And
oh boy, that's a loaded question.
Tell us, spill it. This is the time to talk about it.
I think like he definitely exemplifies a certain trope of like this annoying, kid, animal, whatever. But of course, like throughout the movie, he becomes more quote unquote humbled, which I guess is just the whole gist of the nativity story about like humbling yourself in the face of Jesus. I don't know, but throughout most of the movie, he just like gets on my nerves, and he doesn't know what he wants, but he's a kid, so like, what do I know? And he wants to join the royal caravan, but then he doesn't. and Mary, he's in love with her, and it's just a lot of things happening.
Wait, what?
At once.
Is he?
Okay, hold on. I don't know if he's in love with Mary.
He's not in love with Mary, but you know how, like, you sort of look at your pet and you're like, oh, I think my pet's in love with me. It's like that.
I mean, I don't have pets, so I wouldn't
Special
know.
Animal owner bond thing.
Yeah, it's like that.
Okay.
It's like the indescribable bond between a pet and an owner.
Gotcha. But, like, something I don't understand is why, like, he didn't know that something magical was that he didn't hear about, like, oh, the king is coming, like, the new king is coming. Like, there were, like, rumors, like, this little rat had been telling people, like, animals, things were happening, and then for some reason, Dave, which is the big question, I'm just like, Dave, you're flying all over the place. Why haven't you heard these rumors and told Dave Bo that, hey, it's just like, hey, Bo, like, the reason that these people are chasing Mary is because, like, she's carrying this king and maybe you should care a little bit more. I don't know. It's just, but we're jumping all over the place. Let's talk about that, like, first big, like, chase sequence that happens where, like, Bo escapes and ends up with Mary and Joseph. But there is, like, this good chunk of the movie where you just have this, like, kind of crazy sort of like chase, which is very reminiscent to Ferdinand in its placement. In that, like, at just the right moment, it's like, oh, here we go. We got to have this crazy fun action sequence because we can't have a movie without one. What did you guys think of it, Michelle?
The first one, honestly, when the owner dude, like, was trying to get him back, I, like, was like, yeah, I mean, this is his livelihood. I don't know what the donkey's job is to turn that wheel thing around, but, like, he has a livelihood. Of course he wants his donkey back. He paid for him. So, like, I, like, got it. It was only after, like, he tried to jack him the second time I was like, okay, well, now you're interfering with the plot. Just go away, mister. But before, I was, like, kind of on his side because it was pretty understandable. Outside of that, like, I don't know. I think if any movie has more than, like, 2 chase sequences, I start to wonder if it's just because they think they should do more because that's what movies do and that's the structure. But, yeah, I don't really have any other comments on the first one.
Gotcha. And Sam, what about you? Anything you want to say before we move on to, like, the meat of the story?
Chase sequences are just fodder, really. Mm-hmm. Just, something to pad out what's happening. I mean, I get it, like, in terms of plot, it had to happen. It had to be a runaway, and, it can be visually interesting, but I feel like this movie was kind of so bland for me that I don't remember the chase sequences that much.
Gotcha.
That's how I felt with Ferdinand. Like, after the second one, I was like, well, I can't just process this to the height of my ability because it just keeps happening.
Something tells me I need to watch Ferdinand.
Please don't. You don't need to.
You only have one life. You really don't.
I know.
Like, it is more worthwhile to watch Coco twice than to watch Ferdinand once. Yeah, just consider that before you decide to watch Ferdinand. But okay, so we talked about Mary revealing her pregnancy to Joseph. Sorry, I wrote Joe. I wrote Joe in my outline because Joseph is such a long name. But yeah, so that all happens, and then we're introduced to these, like, 3 wise men, which I always knew as the 3 kings, because that's just how.
Yeah, I thought they were 3 kings.
Yeah, I don't understand why. Like, maybe they just didn't want to confuse, like, the king, all these kings. Because, like, I don't know, like, this guy, King Herod, like, he was, like, really scared of this new king. So if there were just, like, 3 kings in front of him, I feel like he would have just exploded. Like, no, too many kings. So maybe that's why, I don't know. But,
I don't know, the language of the church can be kind of, like, redundant at times.
Yeah, it's true. But, basically, these 3 men come and tell King Herod that, hey, we're here for the new king, and then he decides to, like all kings do, kill the new king, because he's like, no, I like my power. And we're introduced to the 3 camels. So, instead of diving into this plot, I just kind of want to get it out of the way now, because it's pointless. Like, and it's not pointless.
It really is.
It is. There's we do not spend any time with these camels. Like, it's probably just 3 scenes. Like, they're just here to tie everything together, but, like, there's no point to them. So, like, better than focus on the negative. Let's, like, refocus this. Who is your favorite camel? Michelle.
Deborah. I like that she definitely has the most common sense, and the other two just kind of, like, just butted heads a lot. And at the very end, she was like, okay, I'm gonna let them have this one. I was like, that's right, Deborah. Everyone knows you're the alpha.
What about you, Sam? Which is your favorite camel?
Yeah, Deborah was definitely my favorite. She had the most, like, I don't know, she was the most endearing. I liked her the most. She's Oprah.
She's Oprah. What
who couldn't like Oprah?
Yeah.
I will say, though, that one scene with her at the end where she goes, like, I think everyone's gonna celebrate this day and millions upon millions of people are gonna care about this and he's gonna change the world. I was like, okay, Oprah, okay, Deborah, you need to sit down because you can't, this is completely a horrible, like, scene and horrible line. Like, there's no point to this. Like, there's no, like, no, that's just... Like, the whole point was, like, this joke of them being like, you're crazy. That would never happen. And I'm just like, that joke is so, like, cliche and stupid. Like, oh, God. Like, her character was fine up until that scene. I was just like,
That's
I'm
true.
done. I was like, that was the moment where I was like, okay, this movie, it's run its course. I need it to end now. Okay, so... basically, Mary and Joseph have to go to Bethlehem because of a census that no one really, like, they don't properly explain this. I don't think, like, I know, or here's what's hard. It's this is a story that I just know so well that I don't know how dependent the film was in the audience knowing the story. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like sometimes, like, for instance, with, like, Spider-Man, it's, like, annoying because they keep telling us the story, and it's like, no, just get on with it. Everyone knows the story by now. So with this one, like, do you guys think that they were like, oh, like, we don't need to tell anyone much? Or would they have, like, would it have been better for the story if they had actually kind of dived into, like, the details of everything instead of just kind of, like, been like, we're going to give you the most superficial version of the story?
I kind of wish that they would have explained the census thing, because I do not remember that. It's been, like, over 10 years. Let's say, like, maybe 15 years since I've been, like, learning about this sort of thing. So, of course, that kind of, like, went over my head. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I knew, like, they went from there to there, but I couldn't really remember why. So I wish that they would have explained that more, especially, like, if the aim is towards kids, you want to educate and not just have, like, this sort of feel-good romp about Jesus. Anyway. Yeah, I kind of wish I would have gone more into that and maybe more, again, into, like, the more saucier details, but, it's for...
Saucier! Oh, the baby murder!
That could have been, like, this guy was not scary at all. Like, this baby murderer that we're introduced to has these, like, two, like, these, like, puny little dogs that I'm just, like...
it's like, oh, there's a king to be born? Okay, one dude and your two dogs. Do you think you can handle this entire like, country all on your own? Good luck. I hope you find them in, like, 3 days. That's what's gonna happen.
Like, not
it's just crazy.
Yeah, like, not once did I feel... I mean, again, we know how this story ends. But at the same time, like, I would like some tension. It's possible. Like, I'm reading this Star Wars book about Princess Leia before this trilogy even starts. And, like, I'm still... Like, there is tension in this book. Even though I know how the story ends, I know it's still fun to read. And this movie, like... Even though, like, we know that Jesus is coming, there's no way that we know it's gonna happen, they could have made him, like, they could have made the baby killer, like, more threatening, like an actual baby killer. They could have been, I don't know, I just found him to be completely, maybe it's because they decided to focus on the animals, or maybe not, but I just did not find him at any point to be... He doesn't talk even. He doesn't even talk. And I'm just like, why?
He barely talks, yeah.
I don't know. I just found him to be completely wasted. Just like I found the camels to be, like, wasted. Like, I'm just like, you don't invite Oprah and then not use her. Like, that is just, no. You don't do that.
Yeah, the dogs were more threatening.
Yeah, they were.
They were threatening. They were, like, even though they weren't, like, I wanted them to be even more threatening, like, they were more threatening. And I was more scared of Bo being okay than this man who has this very large knife that he keeps pulling the knife out. We keep seeing shots of him pulling his knife out, but like we never like use it. I mean, again, I know that we can't see you use it. I get it. I know the restrictions, but at the same time, it's like, make him scary. Make him a little bit scary. A little knife, a little sword isn't going to get these kids scared. The sword itself isn't even frightening. Like, it's not. Like, it looks like a butter knife. Like, I don't know. I just, very disappointed in this villain. So, alright, I'm so sorry. We're jumping over the place.
That's
and then my outline is just like, Bo meets this sheep named, okay, basically, Mary Joseph leave for Bethlehem and leave Bo behind. He runs
which is crazy. Like, oh yeah, my husband will just carry this big ass cart around, and I'm pregnant, so I'll just like walk next to him. That's fine, donkey. You can just stay here. Oh man,
he's a small donkey.
It's better than trying to carry a big cart yourself.
And I'm assuming that, like, you know, Bo is not like we've seen this time again throughout the movie. Bo is not the most faithful donkey. Like, he will do what he wants. So I feel like they were just like, you know what? You're going to cause us trouble. Let's just go. We don't need him. Let's head out. So Bo, like, is now free to do whatever he wants. And he wants to chase his dream. But then he's, like, basically given a fork in a road. By the way, we're giving a lot of these. Like, this visual of just, like, a split between two roads in this movie is, in my opinion, overused. Because, like, how many decisions does this little donkey have to make? Like, how many visual representations of, like, choosing the right thing and choosing the selfish thing do we need to see? I got way too much, in my opinion. But, he decides to chase after Mary and Joseph and tell them about and warn them. And Dave is like, no, but your dream. And then he's like, no, we have to do the right thing. So they go, and then they meet Ruth, the sheep. What do you guys think of Ruth? Because, like, she's voiced by A.D. Bryant. And I'm just thinking, here is this person from SNL. Here's a chance to, like, give us some comedy, like, give us something, like, really great. And she just is, like, a pretty, like, she's not the type of character I thought an SNL person would voice, just because she's not given that many jokes to do. What did you guys think of her character? Sam?
I don't know. In terms of her being voiced by A.D. Bryant, A.D., in terms of, like, you know, comedy thing, her main, I guess, like, thing that they poke fun at is, like, her being, like, fat, etc. She's more of, like, a straight man in a lot of sketches. Mm-hmm. So, as for this, like, being sort of, like, wacky, zany, but still, like, you know, I want to be a leader, because blah, 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 is, you know, I think it's fitting for the voice. As for the character, I don't know. Of course, we have that sheep motif, you know, that shows up, you know, the shepherd, thing that always shows up. Which, you know, I guess is a nice imagery. It's just another animal just joining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joining the fray of this caravan around Jesus.
Michelle, what about you?
I thought she was fine. I think she was kind of, like, bland, though. Like, she was well-meaning, and she was cute, and she, like, just, like, wanted to help, and also wanted to kind of be a leader, and that was kind of it. But considering she's not really in the movie for long and doesn't really do much except for, like, get the sheep herd together at the end, I mean, I guess that's all, like, you could expect from a side character. I honestly enjoyed her more than the dove, and he was in it for, like, the whole movie.
Yeah, fair. I mean, do you think it's because she has too many qualities of a protagonist that she doesn't really shine?
No, but she's as bland as most protagonists are, but I don't think that's why.
Oh, okay, well, fair, but I just feel like because she's there and because we have Bo there and they're both kind of bland, maybe that's why?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. With all the camels and the dogs and, like, the sheep and the dove, it's just, like, a lot of animals to keep track of.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot. They're just, maybe it's because there's too many characters. which is like weird because I don't know. There's so many that like, in this, but then there's a lot of things they're trying to balance. But at the same time, I feel like they're intentionally being superficial, just for the sake of like we don't want to get too deep into this.
Yeah, it wants to be a very safe movie. One thing I was I kind of expected was that there was like no real conversation about like faith in this movie, and I kind of thought maybe there would be, because like this new Messiah is like coming to Earth, like it's a big deal, and it's gonna be a change for this community, and everyone just kind of like, oh yeah, Son of God, okay, yeah, sure, that's happening. No one really questions it. People like the other dude's afraid of it. It makes Joe worry about being a good dad, but nobody's like, is this real? Like, I don't know if I believe. That's pretty crazy. They all just buy into it right away. And I think it would have been interesting to see how they develop that faith in a different way instead of just immediately having it from the beginning.
Yeah. Or even just, because this is a very trying thing for Mary and Joseph. It's like them having a moment where they question it, have a moment where they're like, I guess Joseph does this a little bit, being like, why me? Like, why is this like happening? Like, why, what can I do? Why was I chosen for this? Like that, I guess would make some sense. But, like we don't get enough of like, this is impossible. There's no way.
Yeah.
Like it's never the question of, oh, like you saw an angel, or hey, you just got pregnant out of nothing. Like that's never questioned.
Yeah.
Like there's something there to like explore, and they just don't explore it, which is annoying. But
I don't know. Maybe like we're asking too much of this film. Like I think like crises of faith, and the whole like burdens of what God asks you to do might be too heavy for a talking animal movie.
Oh no, totally.
At least one of this caliber, and like the target audience and stuff.
Yeah, one of this caliber, because like I don't know, Prince of Egypt did a pretty good job, but that movie had way higher ambitions than A Star, clearly. So.
Yeah. That's what I mean, though. It's like, it's just frustrating, because I was just like, I'm one of those people where it's like, if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna spend the money on this, go for it. Just do it. Like, just try and be ambitious. Like, I don't need, like, perfection. I just need ambition. And it's less, granted, like, Ferdinand, well, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing with Ferdinand. It wants to be ambitious, but it just refuses to be ambitious.
Did it want to be ambitious?
It didn't. Okay, we're not going to talk about Ferdinand anymore.
I don't know.
More Ferdinand.
I will
no more
agree
Ferdinand.
there was wasted potential there.
Okay.
This is great for me because I haven't seen it. I have no clue.
No more Ferdinand.
We're really selling it on you, huh, Sam?
Yep. Now I gotta watch it, right? Gotta see that John Cena.
And the Kate McKinnon. Okay, enough. So Dave and Bo meet Ruth. They meet up with Mary and Joseph. And here we have like this kind of new like sequence, this kind of crazy, wacky action sequence that we get. Do you guys have any comments on this one? Like, despite the pointlessness of it, do you find anything worthwhile to it? Or did you just find it boring? There's no need for it, Michelle.
Wait, which one was this?
This is the one. Okay, we got the answer. No, I'm just kidding. This is the one in like they end up at the market. Like they basically see the dogs coming, and then they're like, we gotta keep them like away from them. So then they go to the market, and then Mary goes to get water, and then
messes up, and Joe gets No, this was probably the most pointless one, because all it was like, oh, we can't have them together too quickly. It's a little too easy. We gotta make Bo like decide for himself that he really wants this, and we're gonna push that back for 20 more minutes. I do not think there was any point to this.
All right, what about you, Sam? Do you remember this sequence?
Dude, I actually don't. I just remember just like a lot of like zany running around. I don't know.
Okay, do you guys think that like the movie would have improved had Mary and Joseph actually known that they were being like followed and like sought after?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would have been like a lot more tension and like, a whole like big, coming into like a climax. Like we gotta find, an inn. We gotta find shelter. We gotta like find sanctuary, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, their only concern up to this point is like, oh, are we gonna be good parents for the Messiah? Instead of like, yo, having this kid's literally gonna like, there are political ramifications of this that's gonna affect like everything. This is a big deal on like a national scale. And there's just none of that. It's just like, oh, hope we're gonna be good parents. And that's just, I don't know. It's not as intense in a bad way, I would say. Because there is more going on here. It is like a political thing. And why shy away from that? It's there. It's part of the story.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we know that there's someone who's after them. I feel like the tension would have just been raised if they had, like, I feel like this is one of the detriments of going from the animal perspective versus the human perspective, is that by making them aware, suddenly the animals are null and void. Like, there's no need for them anymore because the humans now know, so they're going to actually take action that the animals would have taken otherwise.
Yeah.
Why do we need animals in the story?
Good question.
It's a fresh new take because children like animals more than watching people.
God, when I first saw the premise of this, I thought it was going to be like furry Jesus, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Because you thought the donkey was going to be...
Yeah, I thought the donkey was going to be Jesus.
Whoa, that would be... Whoa.
Like, there are that could be really deep. You could, like, get some, like, that could be really interesting. Like, ambition, guys. Like, ambition doesn't hurt. Like,
ambition.
Hashtag ambition. One thing I do want to tackle, because one of the things that this movie marketed on, like, one of the things it sold was a new Christmas Mariah Carey song.
Oh my God.
What?
One of the things that in the trailer...
Before I looked it up.
Oh, there were so many songs in this movie, and some of them I was okay with, because I was like, oh, I can notice this is like kind of Christmassy thing, but some of them... too poppy.
No. When it veered into like Christian rock, I was like, we need to stop. We need to stop. There's no need.
Be watching this in December after it comes out on DVD.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind songs and things. I don't. Right. But the thing is, because this is how I felt this movie dealt with like music. Let's just say Mary goes, I'm sad. Next up is like a song play that goes, sadness.
Okay, that's fair.
Legit, like the Mary Did You Know thing. I was like, no, we're not doing this. Like, really? Right after a fight, it's like, did you know, Mary, that this would happen? Did you? It's like, really? Like, no, this is no need for it at all. Like, and the fact that Mariah's song was barely played, like we barely listened to her sing, and I was like, you don't get to market Mariah and not deliver. Like, I need her full-length song, and not in the credits, but in the actual movie. Like, this is not how this goes. And by the way, like, it doesn't even, like, come close to All I Want for Christmas Is You. Like, does not even come close to it.
Nothing's gonna top that. It's the ultimate feel-good classic.
I know that nothing will top it, but I was like, you're not, again, problem with ambition, hashtag ambition, they don't even try. They don't even try.
Goal, it was a massive failure.
Yeah, it was not good. But okay, so then let's, like, wrap this up with this kind of, like, final act where, and it's funny because, like, a lot of things are happening in it. First, we get that Kelly Clarkson cameo.
Oh my God.
Legit, look,
Sam's mood is so strong.
I have never seen a cameo in animation like this, like where it's legit just the actor coming in to do a cameo. Like, that's the only point of that character, was just so we could hear Kelly Clarkson like sing a couple notes in character. Made no sense.
Be a horse.
Basically. And just say, like, oh, I live for the spotlight. It's like, Kelly, please.
Oh,
like,
God.
Kelly, please.
Kelly.
But yeah, so we have this, like, a lot of things are happening. We meet these new characters. We see, like, Bo and Dave and Ruth trying to protect Jesus, and Mary, who's giving birth to him after, like, going through different inns. I can't believe we actually had a sequence where it was just Mary and Joseph going to different inns, like, Really? Like, that was, like, peak boredom. I was just like, come on now. Like, no, get them to the barn. We know where they're going. And in the midst of everything that's happening, the camels arrive. In the midst of everything that's happening,
we sure missed them.
It was a lot. So what did you guys think of kind of how this movie kind of wraps everything up? And, like, how this kind of, like, crazy action sequence happens. Third one. Like, it's like every act needs a sequence. Third one in, and everything's kind of happening. Like, are you guys, like, a little upset that we didn't actually get a birth scene? Like, I'm a little upset. I feel
I'm
like
upset because I was worried about Mary. She's been walking a long way, and her water broke, and no one was letting her use their table, and childbirth's probably a really hard time without, like, painkillers, and I just felt for Mary. I don't know. Let's not shy away from the gruesomeness of even childbirth, guys. Come on, you gotta commit.
I mean, I just wanted, like, I don't need to see it, but I needed to hear Mary screaming.
Yeah, it's a hard thing. It's not just like, la, la, oh. I mean, again, like, this makes sense for, like, #chill Mary that we've seen the whole movie, but yeah, a little screaming would have been warranted.
All right, quote of the pod, #chill Mary.
Yeah.
That's the quote of the pod. But Sam, like, what did you think of, like, how that final confrontation between Bo and Ruth and Dave and the dogs, and how it all kind of neatly ties up together?
I was feeling like the emotional pull of, the dogs just wondering to themselves, are we bad? And stuff, because, they were doing errands for, like, King Mourad, obviously, and, attacking the Messiah. I was really feeling that. As for, like, the whole ending sequence with Mary and the animals and the bowing and just, I don't know. I'm just, It's hard to say because, of course, people have different thoughts, feelings, opinions, religions, etc. Christianity and any of its sects are not mine.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it felt like a little bit too on the nose, a little bit too, like, I get it. He is the King of Kings. I understand. Bowing just felt, I don't know, is what it was. It happened. Of course, Oprah's final line about, we're all going to remember this, and it's going to be thousands of years in the future. We will all dedicate this day, blah, blah, blah. And of course, that wasn't in those. But, it is what it is. It's just like, for me, that sort of thing is morals 101 and, like, devotion 101, like how you're supposed to act and how you're supposed to feel. And redemption, anybody can be redeemed in the eyes of God if they have like forgiveness in their heart or whatever, right? So that's how I felt about it. Like, at the end, in terms of Mary giving birth, I didn't want to see that. I'm kind of glad they didn't show it. But other than that, yeah, it was just like, yeah.
Do you think that Bo was even, because the thing is, like, Bo doesn't ever really, like, he doesn't do any, like, I don't know, like, he still has his, like, dream and stuff, right? And then he gives it up at the end, but he's still, like, I don't know, like, he's, like, this character where I'm just, like, he's not 100% great, like, in terms of, like, he's not good 100%, he's selfish. But then, like, his growth into becoming, like, no, I have to do the right thing, like, that development, like, isn't really there. He just, like, suddenly switches. Do you guys feel the same way?
Well, I think it was this kind of thing where, like, objectively, he was spending his life in a room. Like, anything was going to be better than that. And the caravan was a nice school because he got to travel, and he thought that was, like, going to be the most important thing. But then I think, like, the fact that he didn't even bond with them that much, but he, like, kind of helped them out, Mary and Joseph. I think just, like, the fact that, like, they had something going on there and they were a reliable source that could take care of him, ended up just, like, being like, oh, this is a thing that actually is pretty good. And maybe walking around a caravan would actually kind of suck more than I thought it would now that I have other options and literally just that. So, like, it made sense to me, but yeah, it happened very conveniently when he made this choice in the movie structure, so it wasn't wholly satisfying either when he changed his mind.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like if he had just been their donkey, if he had just been their donkey from the beginning, like, yeah, we wouldn't have had his, like, decision of, like, do I stay, like, do I go for my dream, do I do this? Yeah, I would have removed that, but that was something we didn't need. Like, it didn't add anything to the story.
True.
Like, if anything, it was just, like, I feel like we would have been much more invested in his character had he just been, like, I care a lot about these people, these, like, owners of mine, and I want to, like, protect them, and I need to stop this person that's, like, evil, like, dogs and stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like his intentions, like, just weren't there. Like, his drive wasn't there.
Yeah.
But,
I think that's fair.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why the story doesn't work, and I'm just like, maybe it's because of Bo. Maybe it's all Bo, or maybe, I don't know. It's like, I'm trying to figure it out, and it's just really like,
I don't know. Do you think it would have been better if it was just like a straight up human thing?
I mean, I don't know. I guess
I'm trying a different story.
Yeah, so I'm trying to still think about this, like, within the parameters the film sets for itself. So I'm still trying to make it work with animals. Like, without a doubt, it would have been better as a human story. But with animals themselves, like, had they still, like, kept the animals, like, for instance, so when one of the camels tells the dogs, like, no, we don't want you. You're not part of our group. I'm like, camels, you're not part of the group either. You just showed up at the last second.
True.
So I'm just like, there was just no, like, if they were gonna do, like, an animal story, they could have done a lot more to make these characters interesting. Maybe if they had done, like, I don't know, like, if Mary and Joseph weren't so predominant, maybe if they had just been kind of in the I guess in the background or something, like, or if they had focused on, like, the little drummer boy or something, I don't know, like, done
they
something.
Used music from that song in the background, but they did not have him in it. Yeah.
So I'm just like, maybe if they had done that, or maybe, like, done something so that because, like, okay, if you're gonna do an animal story, you can't do a human story, so you gotta, like, keep the humans, like, at a minimum. You have to. That's just, in order to make the characters interesting, you have to, like, do it. You have to, like, take it to the extreme, I guess. And they just refused to take it to the extreme. And that was just what was frustrating for me. But, do you guys think baby Jesus looked a little funny?
Yeah, he had this weird, like, peach fuzz hair and just his face. I don't know. We didn't even see him that long, and we don't spend a lot of time, like, in the shots looking at his face. A lot of, like, shots of, like, people looking down at him. But, like, yeah, he did seem a little weird.
Do you guys think this is a movie worth watching for Christmas? For those who, like, well, I'm assuming the people who would watch this movie would celebrate Christmas, I'm assuming. Like, I don't know. Like, everyone can watch this movie, but I feel like, why would you if it weren't because of Christmas?
Why would you?
There's nothing else to offer from it. Like, unless you celebrate the holiday.
Why would you?
Like, this isn't like, for instance, like, The Magic of Coco, where you can enjoy this movie even if you don't celebrate Dia de los Muertos. Like, like, that still has a lot that you can, like, enjoy from it. But this one, like, if you don't celebrate it, like, I see no point in you seeing it just because there's just no enjoyment in it.
Yeah, in terms of Christmas movies, I don't think this one has, like, a high tier of quality. And I don't know, even just, like, culturally significant, I don't really think it's that notable. Like, again, like, I'd recommend The Prince of Egypt before I'd recommend this movie. And that's not really a Christmas movie at all, but I just, like, there are elements that are similar. I feel like it does a really much better job, so I would kind of want people to watch that instead.
Okay, this is kind of a side note, but do you guys think Balto is a Christmas movie?
I've never seen Balto. Huh. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
I mean, there's snow.
Yeah. Balto's a dog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He does deliver things.
He does deliver things.
Maybe. I don't know. I never really thought of it that way.
Because I feel like this movie could have been, like, I could have seen this as, like, going into it, I was like, maybe this is gonna be like the Balto for younger generations, where you're gonna have like a donkey trying to save like a baby or a birth or whatever. And like that didn't happen. Balto's still great, and this movie's still not.
When are we gonna write
some hot takes, man?
When are we gonna write like a Balto Christ allegory article?
It should happen.
Well, doesn't he like die for a second?
Yeah.
And then like he comes back. Dude.
There you go, Balto's Jesus confirmed.
Confirmed, guys. Like confirmed. Okay, you know what? I think, alright, after much thought, I do think Ferdinand does go above this movie, simply because we've talked about so many other movies in this podcast instead of The Star. Maybe it's because like there's just not much to The Star.
No, it's very safe to its detriment, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'll agree with that.
The only interesting thing about it is really the cast.
Yeah, it's their performances. They did a good job.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe that's why they cast all these people. Because, like, they knew that they had nothing else.
Also, I think they kind of did a casting gag with Gina Rodriguez, because
I know!
She's Jane the Virgin, and she plays Mary! Ah!
Like, I just want her to stop playing a pregnant woman. I'm just like, she's done it. She needs to move on.
Justice
she's like,
for Gina.
Yeah, basically. I don't know. I want to see Gina in everything, but also, like, she's better than being pregnant again. She is more than that, guys. But yeah, any last thoughts you guys have on The Star? Sam?
I don't... Could have been better. I don't even, like, why was it even called The Star? Because of, like, the star that the wise men followed, I guess? The bright angel? I don't know.
Yeah, I think
what's the point of The Star?
But they didn't really spend much... They spent, like, the last third really hammering home the star.
The star!
Not the rest of the movie, so...
Kelly Clarkson didn't sleep because of the star.
Right, yeah.
If they were going to name this movie The Star, they needed that to be much more prevalent in the first two acts of this movie, because they was just not there.
Could have just
again, it was the day, but still.
Post-nativity fun adventure.
Post-nativity fun adventure.
Yeah, or like...
That would be such an amazing title. That would sum up basically the quality tier of this movie you could expect. I think that's a better title.
Gina Rodriguez as Chill Mary.
Chill Mary. There you go.
No, we could come up with a billion better titles that get across the message of this movie. A very bland nativity story with talking animals.
I really like Bo's Nativity Fun Adventure. I think that really speaks to the heart of what this movie is.
Yeah, hire me in that movie executive so I can title all your movies.
Yes, please. Thanks. You guys.
Do it. All right, so that does it for this podcast. Find out all the info on this podcast at overlyanimated.com. Join us on Discord to text chat about animation at overlyanimated.com/Discord. Support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Alec, aka Frozone. And thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Andy, and Hugh. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.